Elliot was flying. Not really flying, but that's what it felt like when he ran. His sneakers slapped against the sidewalk, and his brother Marcus was just 3 steps ahead, laughing and looking back over his shoulder. "You're too slow, Elliot," Marcus shouted. "No, I'm not." Elliot pumped his arms harder. His lungs burned, but he didn't care. The sun was warm on his face, and the whole summer stretched out ahead of them, like a golden road with no end. They were racing to the park, like they did every Saturday. Elliot was 10 years old, and racing was his favorite thing in the whole world. He loved the wind in his hair. He loved the feeling that his legs could take him anywhere, fast as lightning, free as a bird. Marcus reached the corner first and threw his hands up in victory. "I win again." Elliot bent over, hands on his knees, breathing hard but smiling. "Next time I'll beat you. I promise." That's when they heard it. The cheerful, tinkling music of the ice cream truck. Just 1 street over. Ice cream. Marcus's eyes went wide. "Race you there." Elliot took off running before Marcus could react. He heard his brother's footsteps pounding behind him, heard Marcus yelling, "Hey, that's cheating." But Elliot just laughed. His heart was happy. Life was perfect. He reached the curb and didn't stop, didn't look. His eyes were on the white truck with its colorful pictures of popsicles and cones. He stepped into the street. Then came the screaming, the horrible screech of tires trying to stop, the world spinning, flipping, breaking apart like glass. And then nothing. When Elliot woke up, everything was white and quiet. White ceiling, white walls, white sheets. The smell of medicine filled his nose, and beeping sounds came from machines beside his bed. His father sat in a chair next to him, and his face looked different, older, sadder. When he saw Elliot's eyes open, he started crying. "Dad!" Elliot's voice came out scratchy and small. "You're awake. Thank God you're awake." His father grabbed his hand and held it tight. Elliot tried to sit up, but his body felt strange. Heavy. Wrong. "Dad, why can't I feel my legs?" The words hung in the air like a dark cloud. His father's face crumpled, and he looked away. A doctor came in. She had kind eyes, but her smile was sad. She used big words that Elliot didn't understand at first. Spinal cord injury, paralysis, wheelchair. But then she said words he did understand. "You won't be able to walk anymore, Elliot. I'm so sorry." The room went cold. Elliot looked down at his legs under the white sheet. They looked normal. They looked like his legs. But when he told them to move, they didn't listen. "No," he whispered. "No, no, no." He tried again. He tried so hard his whole body shook. But his legs just lay there, still and useless. "You're lying," he screamed at the doctor. "Fix them. Make them work." But nobody could fix them. Not the doctors. Not his father. Not even his father's money. And his father had more money than anyone Elliot knew. 3 months later, Elliot came home from the hospital. The house looked the same, but everything had changed. There was a ramp now where the front steps used to be. The doorways were wider. His bedroom was downstairs, not upstairs where it used to be, because wheelchairs can't climb stairs. His father had bought him the best wheelchair money could buy, black and sleek, with wheels that spun smoothly. But Elliot hated it. He hated the way it looked. He hated the sound it made on the floor. He hated that he needed it. Most of all, he hated the way people looked at him now. When his father took him outside for the first time, everyone stared. Little kids pointed until their parents pulled their hands down and whispered, "Don't stare. That's rude." But Elliot could still feel their eyes on him. His friends came to visit once, then twice, then they stopped coming. At first they said things like, "We'll come back tomorrow," but tomorrow turned into next week, and next week turned into never. Elliot heard them playing outside sometimes, heard them running and laughing, doing all the things he used to do. It felt like someone was squeezing his heart with an iron fist. Marcus tried to talk to him. "Want to watch a movie? Want to play video games?" But Elliot just turned his wheelchair around and rolled away. He didn't want to watch movies. He didn't want to play games. He wanted to run. He wanted his old life back. And since he couldn't have that, he didn't want anything at all. His father hired therapists. They came to the house 3 times a week with their bright smiles and their exercises. "You're doing great, Elliot." But he wasn't doing great. He was stuck in a chair, and no amount of stretching or moving his arms or sitting up straight was going to change that. He stopped talking to the therapists, stopped talking to everyone. Words felt useless. What was there to say? "My life is over" wasn't something people wanted to hear. They wanted him to be brave. They wanted him to smile and say, "It's okay, I'm fine." But he wasn't fine. At night, alone in his room, Elliot would stare at the ceiling and remember running. Remember the feeling of his feet hitting the ground, the burn in his muscles, the joy of moving fast through the world. Now he was trapped. His legs were there, attached to his body, but they might as well have belonged to someone else. His father would stand in the doorway sometimes, just watching him. Elliot could feel the heavy weight of his father's sadness pressing down on both of them like a thick blanket they couldn't throw off. "I'm sorry," his father said one night, his voice breaking. "I'm so sorry, son. I should have been watching. I should have." "Go away," Elliot said, his voice flat and cold. His father left, shoulders slumped like he was carrying the whole world on his back. Elliot knew his father blamed himself, knew his father would give anything to trade places with him. But knowing that didn't help. Nothing helped. The anger inside Elliot grew bigger every day. It filled up his chest, his throat, his head. He was angry at the driver who hit him, angry at his legs for not working, angry at the ice cream truck for being there, angry at himself for running into the street without looking. Most of all, he was angry at the world for moving on without him. People walked past his window every day, running, jumping, dancing, living, and Elliot sat in his chair, watching through the glass like he was already a ghost. Nobody understood. Nobody could understand. He was alone, and he was going to stay alone forever. That's what he believed. Anyway, until the day the impossible happened. Until the day a girl nobody else could see decided to see him instead. 6 months had passed since the accident. Elliot sat outside on the front porch in his wheelchair, staring at nothing. His father thought fresh air would help. It didn't. Outside or inside, trapped was trapped. The street was busy today. People walked past with shopping bags and coffee cups. A jogger ran by with earbuds or ears. 2 boys on bicycles raced each other down the sidewalk, their laughter echoing. Elliot's hands tightened on the wheels of his chair. He looked away. That's when he saw her, a girl about 8 or 9 years old, walking slowly down the sidewalk. Her clothes were dirty and too big for her. Her hair was tangled and uncombed. Her shoes had holes in them, and her dark skin was smudged with dirt. In her hand, she carried a single red rose. She walked straight toward Elliot's house, and she didn't look away when she saw him in his wheelchair. She didn't whisper to anyone. She didn't point. She just looked at him with big, serious eyes. Then she turned up the walkway to his house. Elliot's father, who had been watering the garden, immediately stepped forward. "I'm sorry, we don't have any." "I'm not asking for money," the girl said. Her voice was quiet but strong. A neighbor walking by slowed down, frowning. "Should I call someone? Is this child bothering you?" "I'm not bothering anyone," the girl said, still looking at Elliot. "I'm just visiting." Elliot stared at her. Nobody visited him anymore. Nobody wanted to. "What do you want?" His voice came out rough from not talking much lately. The girl walked closer, right up to his wheelchair, and held out the red rose. "I want to give you this." Elliot looked at the flower. It was pretty, but the edges of the petals were brown and drooping. "Why?" "Because I wanted to," she said simply. "Because nobody gave you anything today." "You should go home," Elliot's father said gently. "Where are your parents?" The girl's face didn't change. "I don't have parents. Not anymore." The words hung in the air like they had weight. Elliot's father's expression softened. "Where do you live? Who takes care of you?" "Nobody takes care of me," the girl said. "I take care of myself. I live wherever I can. Sometimes behind the grocery store. Sometimes in the park." She was homeless. Elliot realized it all at once. This girl had no home, no parents, no one. "You should take the rose," she said to Elliot. I waited a long time to find it. Something in her voice made Elliot reach out and take the flower. The stem was rough in his hand. "What's your name?" he asked. "Zura." "I'm Elliot." Zara nodded like she already knew. Then she sat down right there on the porch steps, like she belonged there. Elliot's father looked uncertain. "Zara, I can call someone who can help you. There are places." "I don't want to go to places," Zara said. "I want to sit here for a minute. Is that okay?" Elliot's father looked at Elliot, who shrugged. "I don't care." So Zara sat there, and nobody said anything for a long moment. Then she spoke again. "People walk past me every day. They don't see me. Or they see me and look away fast, like looking hurts their eyes." Elliot knew exactly what she meant. People look at me and then look away too. But they see the wheelchair first. That's all they see. "At least they see something," Zara said. "With me, they try to see nothing at all." For the first time in 6 months, Elliot felt like someone understood. Really understood. "Why did you come here?" he asked. Zara looked at the sky. "I see you sometimes, sitting out here. You look angry, but also sad, like you're waiting for something that's never going to come." Elliot's throat felt tight. "Maybe I am." "I know about waiting," Zara said. "I waited for my mom to come back. She said she was going to the store, and she'd be right back. That was 2 years ago. I waited at our apartment for 3 days before they made me leave." "I'm sorry," Elliot whispered. Zara shook her head. "Don't be sorry. Sorry doesn't bring people back. Sorry doesn't change anything." She was right. Elliot's father said sorry every day, and it never made Elliot's legs work again. "So what do you do?" Elliot asked. "If sorry doesn't help, what does?" Zara thought about it. "You keep going. You wake up and you keep going. Some days are terrible. Some days you find a rose growing by a fence, and you think maybe you'll get it to someone who needs it more than you do. But you needed it," Elliot said. "You could have kept it." "I have lots of things I need," Zara said. "Food, a home, a family." One rose wasn't going to fix any of that, but maybe it would make you smile. "I don't smile anymore." "I notice." Zara stood up and brushed off her pants. "But maybe one day you will. I'll come back tomorrow and check." "Why would you do that?" Elliot asked, surprised. "Because I said I would," Zara said simply, "and because nobody else does." Zara did come back the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. At first, Elliot's father tried to help her. He offered her food, which she accepted. He offered her money, which she refused. He tried to call social services, and she disappeared for 2 days until he promised to stop. "She needs help," his father said Elliot. "Maybe she needs a friend more than help," Elliot replied. His father looked surprised. It was the most Elliot had said in months. Zara didn't treat Elliot like he was broken. She didn't avoid looking at his wheelchair or ask him sad questions about what happened. She just talked. She told him about the city from her eyes, about the secret places where honeysuckle grew through chain-link fences, about the library where she could sit and read for free, about the old man at the bakery who sometimes gave her day-old bread. And slowly, carefully, Elliot started talking back. He told her about racing with his brother, about how he used to be the fastest kid in his class, about the accident, and waking up to a world where his legs didn't work anymore. "I lost everything," he said one afternoon. They were in the backyard. Zara sitting in the grass. Elliot in his chair beside her. "No, you didn't," Zara said. "Yes, I did. I can't run. I can't play. I can't do anything I used to do." Zara looked at him steadily. "You can still talk. You can still think. You can still be kind. You can still be brave." "I'm not brave. You're sitting here talking to me, aren't you? Even though it hurts. Even though you're scared. That's brave." Elliot had never thought about it that way. "What are you scared of?" he asked her. Zara was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I'm scared I'll disappear. That I'll just fade away and nobody will notice I was ever here. That I'll die and nobody will remember my name." Her words hit Elliot like a punch to the chest. He'd been so focused on his own pain that he hadn't really thought about hers. I'll remember, he said quietly. I'll remember your name. Zara smiled then, a real smile that lit up her whole face. Then I'll remember yours too. 1 week turned into 2. 2 weeks turned into a month. Elliot's father watched the friendship grow with amazement. His son was talking again, smiling sometimes, coming out of the dark cave he'd been hiding in. She's good for you, his father said one evening. Elliot nodded. She's my friend, my only friend. What could we do for her? His father asked. She needs so much. She needs someone to see her, Elliot said. Really see her, not just as a homeless girl or a problem to fix, as a person. His father was quiet. Then he said, You're right. You're absolutely right. That night, Elliot lay in bed holding the red rose, which he'd put in a glass of water. Most of the petals had fallen off, but he kept it anyway. Zara had given him something more valuable than a flower. She'd given him hope. She'd shown him that even when life took everything away, you could still find reasons to keep going. You could still be kind. You could still matter. And for the first time since the accident, Elliot thought about his physical therapy exercises that he'd been refusing to do. Maybe, he thought, maybe, tomorrow he would ask Zara if she'd stay while he tried. Because if she could keep going with nothing, maybe he could keep going with something. Maybe broken didn't mean finished. Maybe it just meant different. And maybe different could still be okay. The next morning, Elliot woke up with butterflies in his stomach. He'd made a decision, a scary decision. But Zara's words kept echoing in his head. You can still be brave. When she arrived that afternoon, he was waiting on the porch with something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope, I want to try again, he told her. Try what? Zara sat down on the steps like always. Physical therapy, walking, all of it. His hands were shaking. But I need you to be there. I need you to stay. Zara's eyes went wide. You want me there? You're the bravest person I know, Elliot said. If you can keep going every single day with nothing, then I can try to walk again with everything. Zara didn't say anything for a moment. Then she stood up and put her hand on his shoulder. I'll be there. I promise. Elliot's father cried when Elliot told him he wanted to start therapy again. Are you sure? His father asked, wiping his eyes. I'm sure. The next day, the therapist came. Her name was Ms. Rodriguez, and she'd been trying to work with Elliot for months. She looked surprised to see Zara sitting on the floor in the corner. This is my friend, Elliot said. She's staying. Ms. Rodriguez smiled. The more support, the better. The exercises were hard. Harder than Elliot remembered. His body had gotten weak from sitting still for so long. His legs felt like they belonged to someone else. Let's start simple, Ms. Rodriguez said. Just try to stand for 5 seconds. I'll hold you. She locked the wheelchair and helped Elliot put his feet on the ground. His father stood on one side, Ms. Rodriguez on the other, both holding his arms. On 3, 1, 2, 3, they lifted, and Elliot pushed with all his strength. His legs wobbled. His knees bent. Pain shot through his muscles. I can't, he gasped. You can, Zara said from the corner. You're doing it right now. Elliot looked at her. She was watching him with those serious, steady eyes. The same eyes that had seen so much pain, but still chose hope. He gritted his teeth and pushed harder. His legs straightened. For just a moment, he was standing. 5 seconds. Ms. Rodriguez said, You did it. They lowered him back into the chair, and Elliot's whole body was shaking. His legs hurt. His arms hurt. Everything hurt. But he was smiling. I stood, he whispered. I actually stood. Zara grinned. Told you. After that day, everything changed. Therapy happened 3 times a week, and Zara was there for every session. When Elliot wanted to quit, she reminded him of all the days she wanted to quit too, but didn't. When he cried from the pain, she sat beside him and didn't tell him to stop. She just waited until he was ready to try again. Pain means you're still fighting, she told him once. It's giving up that doesn't hurt. 5 seconds of standing became 10 seconds. 10 became 30. 30 became a whole minute. Then came the day Ms. Rodriguez brought the parallel bars. You're going to take a step, she said. Elliot's stomach dropped. I don't think I'm ready. You're ready, his father said. He'd changed too over these weeks. The sadness in his eyes had been replaced by something else. Pride, hope, love that wasn't drowning in guilt anymore. What if I fall? Elliot asked. Then we catch you, Zara said, and you try again. Elliot looked at the parallel bars. They seemed so long, like they stretched on forever. But he thought about Zara walking the streets alone for 2 years. He thought about her waking up every day, not knowing where she'd sleep that night or when she'd eat next. If she could do that, he could take one step. Ms. Rodriguez and his father helped him stand between the bars. His hands gripped the metal rails, so tight his knuckles turned white. Okay, Ms. Rodriguez said. Shift your weight to your left leg. Good. Now lift your right foot just a tiny bit and move it forward. Elliot's right leg felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. He tried to lift it. Nothing happened. He tried again. His whole body shook with effort. You can do this, Elliot, his father said, his voice thick with emotion. Come on, Zara said softly. Just one step. That's all. One step. Elliot closed his eyes. He thought about racing with Marcus, about the feeling of his feet hitting the ground, about moving through the world on his own. He wanted that again. He wanted it so badly it hurt worse than any physical pain. With everything he had, he lifted his right foot. It moved, just an inch off the ground, just a tiny, wobbling movement forward. Then it touched down again. One step. Everyone erupted in cheers. His father was crying and laughing at the same time. Ms. Rodriguez was clapping. Even Zara, who usually stayed quiet, let out a whoop of joy. I did it, Elliot whispered. Then louder, I did it. You did it. Zara jumped up and ran over. You really did it. Elliot was crying too now, tears running down his face. But they were happy tears, tears of victory. One step. It seemed so small, but it was everything. The weeks that followed were filled with more steps, more pain, more victories. Some days were terrible. Elliot would fall, or his legs would give out, or he'd work for an hour and make no progress at all. On those days, he wanted to quit, but Zara would say, tomorrow, try again tomorrow. And he always did. Meanwhile, something else was changing too. Elliot's father had been talking to lawyers and social workers about Zara. He wanted to help her, really help her, in a way that mattered. How would you feel about staying with us? His father asked her one day. We have a room. You'd have a bed, clothes, food. You could go to school. Zara looked scared. What if you change your mind? What if you decide you don't want me anymore? We won't, Elliot said immediately. You're my family now. Family doesn't give up on family. His father nodded. We'd like to make it official. If you want, we'd like to adopt you. Zara stared at them both. For the first time since Elliot met her, she looked like a little girl, instead of someone who had to be strong all the time. Really? She whispered. Really? Elliot's father said. Zara started crying. Not sad crying, but the kind of crying that happens when something too big to hold inside finally breaks free. She had a home. She had a family. She wasn't invisible anymore. 3 months later, Elliot walked across the living room without holding on to anything. His father stood on one side, ready to catch him if he fell. Zara stood on the other side, holding a new red rose she'd bought from a flower shop. Come on, she said, smiling. Come get your rose. Elliot took a deep breath. His legs were stronger now, but they still shook. Walking was still hard. It probably always would be hard. But hard wasn't the same as impossible. He took one step, then another, then another. His father held his breath. Zara's eyes were bright with tears. Elliot walked, slowly, carefully, one foot in front of the other. And then he reached Zara, and she handed him the rose, and he didn't fall. I'm so proud of you, his father said, his voice breaking. I'm proud of you, too, Zara said. Elliot looked at both of them. His father, who had learned to hope again. Zara, who had taught him that broken didn't mean finished. I couldn't have done it without you, he said. Yes, you'd have, Zara said. but I'm really glad you didn't have to. Life didn't become perfect after that. Elliot still used his wheelchair sometimes when his legs got tired. He still had bad days. He still remembered the accident and felt sad about all the things that changed. But he also had good days now. Days where he walked in the park with Zara. Days where he and Marcus raced again, even if Elliot was slower now. Days where his father smiled without sadness behind his eyes. And he had Zara, who never disappeared, who kept her promise, who stayed. Two people who the world tried to make invisible had found each other, and together, they became impossible to ignore. Elliot learned that being brave didn't mean not being scared. It meant being scared and try anyway. He learned that sometimes the people who save you are the ones nobody else sees. And he learned that when you're falling, the best thing you can do is reach out your hand. Because maybe, just maybe, someone will reach back. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Like and subscribe for more powerful stories about courage, hope, and the unexpected friendships that change everything. Was Elliot just broken, or was he finding his way back to life? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else to take that first step. Remember, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let someone see you, really see you, and sometimes the greatest gift you can give is to see someone else. Thank you for reading. Keep walking forward, one step at a time.